It is day 15. I don't have anything clever to say. It's pets and animals for the main calendar, and Malladus, the evil trained spirit from Spirit Tracks, for the shadow calendar. Spirit Tracks is one of the very few Legend of Zelda games that I did play, I did finish, but I will probably never touch again. You're on a train. Anyway, let's go draw Bambi.
So for the animal/pets prompt, last year I had a bit of trouble with it, and I just ended up throwing random animals sitting all together, which didn't really make too much sense considering you had like a fox and a pig and a cat just sort of sitting there. This year I wanted to actually like look like a scene, so I was just looking through all the different animals that show up and remembered that there were deer in Breath of the Wild. So I'm like, you know what, I'm gonna draw excuse me. I'm gonna draw a deer with some birds, and it's gonna be a very serene little picture. And then I was drawing and I'm like, this is Bambi. I was like, okay, I'll draw little Bambi too. So I have big Bambi and little Bambi. And yeah, it was cute. And then, Malladus, it's a ghost face. There's not really much else to say about Malladus. I said earlier in the intro to the video that Spirit Tracks is not one of the Zelda games that I'm a huge fan of. I played it, I did enjoy it, like, it was a good game, like the mechanics were good and stuff like that. Like, and I did really enjoy, the parts where Zelda did help, like when you're in the temple and stuff. It was mostly the overworld that I had an issue with. Like, a lot of people crap on Skyward Sword because, it's so hard to get from one place to another. The overworld's really, small, and it's like, honestly, the overworld in Skyward Sword isn't that small, and yes, while you do have to go back up to the sky to go to a different area, it's still much more free range, and the sky is huge. You can fly all over the sky, and there's a bunch of different islands to discover. In Spirit Tracks, you're on a track. There isn't really an overworld. You're stuck on the tracks. You can see all the landscape, but you can't go to any of it. There's a monster here and there's a monster there to shoot with your cannon. There's the weird rabbits that you have to shoot. And then even when you are in the areas where you're on foot, they're not that big, and it's very much a path. Unless you're in like a town, and even then the towns aren't that big to explore. And it felt very, you have to go on this path and you don't really have any other choice but to walk this way. And that's how I feel about that. Again, it was a good game, and I did enjoy playing it for the fact that the story was kind of silly, and the weapons were pretty good, and some of the puzzles were actually pretty fun. But it's just the ability to do stuff was a little lacking, I felt. But yes, this animal picture I had fun with, trying to get the colors right. I was worried I wasn't going to use the right colors, so I started with like my lightest version and just sort of built up, which I think worked really well just in general for the color. And I'm really happy with it. My birds, originally I was going to do a blue, green, and red bird. And then I was like, nah. So I did a yellow, purple, and blue, green bird. And I really like my birds. I think they're very cute. I think purple one's my favorite. Yeah, I think I like the purple one best. And then the background, I just sort of... I wanted it to kind of look like it was blurred out. I don't know if I quite got that effect. But I didn't want it to be like a focus of the picture. I wanted it to be very focused on the animals themselves. And, you know, for the most part, I think I did sort of get it to be focused on the animals and not really have the background be too intrusive. And I don't have too much else to say on this or on Malladus, because he's just a blue floating spectral head. And yes. So I hope you enjoyed these two artworks for the day, and if you did, I will have links to previous year's Linktober playlists, as well as a playlist just of general Legend of Zelda fan art, as well as this year's Linktober playlist up in the card for you to check out. My voice got really high right there. And maybe if you enjoy what you see, then you'll stick around outside of Linktober on my arty journey. So, until tomorrow, bye.